It all started as a quiet afternoon in a peaceful neighborhood until things took a shocking turn. A young pregnant teen was simply out for a walk, enjoying some fresh air, when she crossed paths with the neighborhood's self-appointed enforcer, an aggressive HOA board member many have come to call Karen. What was supposed to be a calm day quickly spiraled into a disturbing confrontation, all caught on camera. Witnesses say it began with a few sharp words over what Karen claimed was a rule violation, but within moments, that argument escalated into something no one expected. The teen tried to stay calm, even as Karen grew louder and more aggressive. But then, in a moment that left neighbors stunned, Karen physically attacked her, shoving the teen in broad daylight, completely unaware that everything was being recorded. What followed next had the entire community talking. Police were called, and the footage quickly spread, sparking outrage online. With video evidence in hand, law enforcement didn't hesitate. Karen was arrested and now faces felony battery charges. But here's the twist. This isn't the first time she's clashed with neighbors. So how did it come to this? What does the footage really show? And will this finally be the end of her reign in the HOA? Stay tuned, because what happens next might just shock you even more. Neighbors say Karen's behavior had been getting worse for months. She wasn't always like this, at least not openly. But ever since she got her spot on the HOA board, it's like something shifted. People describe her as a type who patrols the neighborhood with a clipboard in hand, snapping pictures of grass that's too long or cars parked half an inch over the line. And if you dared question her, she'd fire off warning letters or show up at your door with a printout of the community bylaws. The pregnant teen, whose name we're keeping private for safety reasons, had only recently moved into the neighborhood with her parents. They'd heard whispers about Karen, but didn't expect to be caught in the middle of one of her outbursts. Apparently, the teen had paused for a break near the community garden when Karen approached, demanding she leave the area immediately. What triggered her that day? Was it the teen's water bottle, her sitting on the curb, or just the fact that Karen needed someone to target? What's most chilling is that this wasn't a private moment. It all happened in public, with several witnesses, including one neighbor who had the quick thinking to start recording. But the question still hangs in the air. What led Karen to go that far? And was this her first time crossing the line? After the video started circulating in the neighborhood group chat and eventually found its way to Reddit, specifically the EntitledPeople subreddit, it exploded. Hundreds of comments poured in, calling out Karen's behavior and sharing their own stories of HOA drama. But buried within the outrage were a few surprising revelations. A former board member anonymously commented that this wasn't Karen's first meltdown. Apparently, there had been at least 2 previous complaints filed, one involving an elderly neighbor she accused of loitering near the mailboxes, and another with a young dad whose kids chopped on the sidewalk. But here's where things get murky. Some residents still defended her, saying Karen's just strict about rules and that the teen may have talked back. Others weren't buying it. The more people dug into Karen's past, the more red flags they uncovered. Rumors of her trying to run for HOA president, late-night emails to the board demanding fines on minor violations, and even audio recordings of her threatening to tow cars that weren't in violation at all. Meanwhile, the pregnant teen's family has stayed mostly silent, understandably shaken, but also cautious. A close friend of the family said they're considering legal action, not just because of the battery charges, but because they no longer feel safe in their own neighborhood. And the deeper this story goes, the more it feels like this small community is hiding something much bigger. As the investigation picked up speed, the HOA board was forced to address the situation. At first, they released a vague statement saying they were aware of an incident and were reviewing it internally. But that didn't sit well with the residents, especially not after the video had already gone viral and made its way onto local news. Pressure started mounting fast. A few board members reportedly wanted Karen removed immediately, but others were hesitant, claiming they needed more time and due process. That delay only added fuel to the fire. Behind the scenes, tensions were boiling over. Late-night meetings were happening, some neighbors even forming a petition to demand Karen's resignation. But then things got even more intense. Another video surfaced, this time from a doorbell cam. It showed Karen knocking on the teen's door just days before the incident, arguing with her mom about community rules and accusing them of not following landscaping guidelines. The tone was threatening, her body language aggressive. Residents started wondering, was this attack premeditated? Was Karen targeting this family all along? Even more unsettling, a few people came forward saying they'd been afraid to speak up about Karen before, worried about retaliation, HOA fines, or being harassed at home. Now the entire neighborhood feels like it's holding its breath. With felony charges on the table, public outrage growing, and the HOA on the edge of collapse, something big is about to break. Just when it seemed like things couldn't get any more chaotic, another unexpected twist sent shockwaves through the community. A former resident, someone who moved away 2 years ago, came forward online with their own disturbing story about Karen. In a Reddit post that quickly gained traction, they shared screenshots of emails and even a police report from back when they lived in the same neighborhood. According to them, Karen had once accused their teenage son of vandalizing common property for accidentally knocking over a trash bin. That claim led to an actual investigation, but no charges were ever filed because the security footage proved it was just the wind. The post also mentioned something even more alarming, a restraining order that had been filed against Karen shortly before the family moved out. The details were limited, but it was enough to spark a second wave of online outrage. People started digging deeper, trying to uncover just how many similar incidents Karen might have been involved in. Meanwhile, the pregnant teen's family reportedly received a letter, unsigned, no return address, warning them to drop the charges and stop stirring up trouble. Whether it was from Karen or someone else trying to protect her isn't clear, but it's raised fears that the situation is spiraling into something even more dangerous. Now, the neighborhood isn't just divided, it's on edge, and the full truth still hasn't come out. The turning point came at the emergency HOA meeting, held in a packed community clubhouse with local news crews waiting outside. Karen showed up visibly flustered, but still trying to act like she was in control. But this time, no one was letting it slide. Residents stood up one by one, sharing their own stories, small incidents that, when added together, painted a much darker picture. The board had no choice but to vote on her removal, and for the first time in years, Karen was officially stripped of her position. But that wasn't the end. As police continued their investigation into the felony battery charge, they also uncovered something unexpected. Karen had been misusing her role for years, sending out fake violation notices, pushing fines that never went through official channels, and even attempting to access private homeowner data without permission. That discovery led to a second arrest, this time for impersonating an officer of the board and tampering with HOA records. The teen's family finally broke their silence, releasing a short statement thanking neighbors who supported them and confirming they planned to move for their safety. But just when things seemed to settle, another mystery shook everyone. A new video leaked online, showing Karen arguing with someone off-camera weeks before the incident, this time not about rules, but about money. And now everyone's wondering, was this really about the HOA or something much bigger? In the weeks that followed, the neighborhood slowly began to return to normal, at least on the surface. Karen's second arrest stunned even her few remaining supporters, and while the full details of that off-camera money dispute haven't been made public, many believe it hinted at a deeper pattern of manipulation and control. The HOA board has since announced major changes, including new transparency rules and a full audit of past fines and complaints. The pregnant teen and her family quietly moved out soon after, leaving behind a community still shaken but beginning to heal. Their story, though painful, sparked real change, not just locally but online too. On Reddit and other forums like EntitledPeople and HOA horror story threads, Their experience became a rallying point for people tired of unchecked power in neighborhood associations. And maybe that's the biggest takeaway here. When people come together, speak out, and stand up for what's right, even the most entitled behavior can be held accountable. What started as one woman's outburst ended up exposing a much bigger problem, and a community that chose